Good morning, everyone. Please make your way to the front and catch a seat. There's plenty of seats up here in the front. We encourage you to come on up. Jeff, you want to get us started this morning?
I would love to get us started. Elizabeth, this is going to be a great day, isn't it?
It is. It's going to be a great day.
Oh, it's fantastic. So if you're talking in the back, if you can kind of make your way on up, great crowd today. We love what God's doing through Franklin tomorrow and what's happening in our community. It's so exciting. And so I'm going to turn it over in just a minute to Tim and to Elizabeth. But before I do that, I just want to introduce, I'm Jeff Simmons, pastor here at Rolling Hills Community Church. And if you're ever looking for a church home, love for you to come. You come here during the Mayor's Breakfast, so love for you to come and just find a place here to worship. So I'm going to open us a word of prayer. And then after I pray, I'm going to turn it over to my friends and you guys. Great program today. Yeah, it's going to be awesome. So let's pray together. Father, thank you for today. Thank you, Father, that we live in this place, God. Thank you for what you're doing here in the city of Franklin and in Williamson County. And God, I just pray a blessing over every one of the leaders here. I thank you for our mayors and God, just the difference that they're making, God, in our community. And I just pray, God, that you would continue to use them in a great way. I pray for all the leaders here, Father, and just the impact that's being made on families and schools and communities and precious children that are growing up in a place, Father, where they can learn about you and have great community and relationships. And so, Father, we just thank you, God. We come with grateful hearts today, Father, that we get to live where we live, and pray that you find us faithful to do the things you've called us to do. In your name we pray, and we dedicate this morning to you. Amen. Amen. You guys?
Thank you, Jeff. So, Tim.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Elizabeth Medford. I'm the chair for the Breakfast with the Mayors, and I work for the Better Business Bureau. And Tim?
And I'm Tim Murphy. I'm the Franklin Tomorrow Board Chair, and just glad to be here this morning.
I know. I'm excited to be here. Did you see? Excited?
I see. And what are you excited about?
I'm excited about our schools and about our wonderful mayors coming to tell us all about the new year and what's in store for us.
Right. Well, I'm thankful. And I'm thankful for the great community we live in and for the great leadership we have. And we're going to get an opportunity this morning to hear from some of that leadership.
Well, I think we probably get started because we've got a full program, and we want to go ahead and invite Mindy Tate to come on up. She's going to thank all of our sponsors. Did all of you get wonderful coffee from MJ Roasting and breakfast from Puckett's this morning? Can you give them a big round of applause? Thank you.
Good morning. Thanks for being here. We've got a great crowd here today. First of all, we can't do this event without the support of Rolling Hills Community Church, but also Puckett's Grocery and Restaurant and MJ Roasting. Thank them for a wonderful breakfast this morning. You can see behind me all of our presenting partners, but we couldn't fail to mention Pinnacle Financial Partners, but also Williamson Medical Center, Williamson County Association of Realtors, Hazen and Sawyer, Patterson Hardy and Ballantyne, Berry Farms Animal Hospital, just a huge group of supporters for this event, which is held quarterly. I'm going to get off the stage for a minute and turn it back over to County Mayor Rogers Anderson, who's going to kick off our program. We've got several videos this morning to show you as well from the cities, but Rogers is going to start us off and introduce any special guests we have, or go forward from there.
Thank you, Mandy. Welcome, and Jeff, thank you again for opening up your church here to us. Personally, I'd like to say welcome to all of our city mayors. They're all seated up here. You'll hear from them. We have several aldermen, commissioners in the audience, other elected officials. If you fit in that category, would you please stand, because your job is so important to what we do. Thank you for being here. We also have several candidates in the audience that I met, but one of them is running for governor. It's always great to see him here if you're a candidate. But Randy, would you please stand up? Randy Boyd. So Mindy has given me about 3 to 5 minutes to, if I can find the clicker, 3 to 5 minutes to talk about and try to educate as many people as we possibly can about the sales referendum that is currently going on in our county. It's on the slide. My hat goes off to Matt Largent and the Chamber, to the Realtors Association that are spending a lot of time and energy and money to educate you on your vote for this referendum that we're currently in. As you can see, the sales tax referendum that's occurring in Williamson County will end next Tuesday. Early voting is going on this week at about 6 different sites. The 2 main sites would be the complex where you get your car tags and the Brentwood Library. Other sites have opened up as of yesterday. Why do we need it? Dr. Lundy, the school board, has presented to us, the county commission, the funding body, the legislative side of the equation that we have, and said over the next several years we need about $400,000 in additional money for the growth of the children that are coming into our community. Millions, what'd I say? What's a few dollars amongst friends? See now, Diane, everybody knows Diane. You got to have that one person that can correct you. And we have been together for 30 some odd years. Thanks, Diane. So over the next 5 years, we need $428 million plus to get this job done. As Matt's flyer has been sent out to many people over the last several weeks, direct mail places, these are the 3 sources that the county commission body has to look at for funding: the property tax, the wheel tax, and the sales tax. If you look at all 3 of those, and there are other elements that go into making up your tax base, and Anna Graham is here from the Budget Finance Department. She'll certainly can address those individual questions you may have. But our sales tax is the one that we've asked your opinions on. This is your time to vote, to go to the polls and vote for or against. And realizing that 28% of the people that come into our community, shop in our shops, walk down Main Street, those types of things, they shop and then they go back to their individual community. 28% of those people are buying our products, spending their sales tax dollars here. Are our kids worth it? I'm going to go through this kind of hurriedly, but I do want to educate you, because this is probably the single most important slide that I can throw up and try to explain why we need to look at this in the way we're looking at it. A quick lesson. Public schools are a function of county government, not city government. And so when we're looking how to fund our public schools, 64% of the operating budget of our schools is funded through the property tax and all the taxes that we have. We spend 64 pennies right into public education. But the capital investment, the bricks and mortars that go on to build the schools, to add on to our schools, don't flow that way. State law, the way it's written, is that nobody would set a business up this way. But this is the way the law was written. So you go to build a building, or you add on to a building, the county commission, the 24 men and women that we've got, are responsible for paying that debt. They're literally responsible out of their side of the budget, the county government side, and not the school side, to pay for the bricks and mortar. So when schools ask for that $428 million, someone has to pay for that. Different than the way we do our homes. Our disposable income, our total income, is based on whatever our earned values that we make as an individual, that we pay our house note, car payments, and all of those things. It's not the way this works. So we have a set of money, and for illustrations purposes, we're asking for that sales tax to go from 2.25 to 2.75 at the local level. Now I'm going to give you an example of how all that works. You'll love the artwork we put together. So in the first slide, you're down shopping at your favorite store, and it's got a money bag above. And we've generated $10 in tax, just $10 in sales tax. Immediately, 45 days later, that money is processed and sent to the different departments. The first one is where Randy Boyd's trying to go. He's going to take it to Nashville. Now, he gets $7, not personally. $7 of that money goes directly to the state of Tennessee to use in refunding other schools throughout our school district, 95 counties, some 130 some odd different school systems, special school system, and many other functions of that sales tax. So that leaves us in our example, $3. Here's where it gets a little tricky. So we've got the bag jumps over, and out of the $3 that is left out of our $10 example, $1.50 of that stays in the city of which it was generated. So if it's generated in Brentwood or Franklin, or if it's in Fairview, Nolensville, Spring Hill, Thompson Station, $1.50 of that stays right in that city to help that city for their needs financially. The other $1.50 of that money goes directly to schools. I didn't put any money in the county coffers. None of that money made it into the county coffers. Went to these different elements. So the law says the county commissioners are responsible for paying for the debt. So then we went to each of our cities, all 6 cities, and we said, ladies and gentlemen, our growth in our schools, we need for you, if this passes, to give up your $1.50 example over a period of time and send it over through a memorandum of understanding to the county so that we can write the check to help to pay the bricks and the mortars without having to raise everyone's property taxes. Let those 28% of the people help too. Now, there are many opinions on that, what we should do. But here's our real reason. We've got to build 12 new schools, touch on 13 existing schools, and it all goes to our different spots in our community. Please don't copy this as the gospel, exactly where they're going to be, but they're splattered all over our community for public education, touching elementary schools, middle schools, and high schools. That's it. That's as simple as I can make it. It's not a complicated point, but it is your choice to tell us how you want us to do that so that the county commissioners can make them. Later on, there'll be questions, I'm sure, that will address that. So, Mindy, am I going to introduce Ken now? So Ken, Dr. Ken Moore is not able to be with us this morning. He is doing some vacation, some things to enjoy life and get pumped up, and so we're ready to go with Ken's video for us this morning. Ken?
Well, good morning. As you can see, I'm filming remotely today, and Linda and I are out of town, and hopefully the weather's warmer where we're at and where you're at. I want to congratulate all the mayors here today. It's great to work with you, and you're doing a great job for your cities, and I appreciate getting to work with you on a regional basis. Well, let me start out by talking about an issue that's been on Facebook quite a bit, and that's parking in downtown Franklin. We've recently completed a parking capacity study in downtown, and we've also seen that several private lot owners have now decided to start charging for parking. The city is looking at other opportunities as far as how we can address this issue. We're going to be looking to reduce parking time on Main Street, additional signage using technology in our garages to indicate available spots, and also we'll be looking for additional surface lots in the future. Let me just say that parking is still free on city properties and in city garages. Let me say it one more time. Parking is still free in the city of Franklin, on the street and in our garages. I wanted to mention the Vital Signs Report, which is an important document that talks about the health of the region. And that document indicates that we continue to see increasing traffic in our area, slower commute times. And so it's going to be important that we continue to consider what we're going to do about transportation in the future. We've seen the Improve Act was passed. This gives us more money to fund road projects, but also gives us opportunity for a referendum to support some of the much needed projects we may identify in the future. We've seen the In Motion study, which is a regional look at transportation, how we're going to connect. And we've seen the Southern Corridor study, which probably I think is one of the most important documents going forward to guide our future. We've added additional funding to the Franklin Transit Authority, making those routes faster. And also we've seen a group of road projects, which I'll mention just in a minute. Two important referendums happening this year. One is the local referendum on the local sales tax option, which will be done in February. This is an important referendum for the citizens to express their views and opinions. I hope you'll get educated on it. The Board of Mayor and Aldermen is fully supportive of this referendum. And second is a referendum in Nashville in May that will help fund Mayor Berry's $5.4 billion transportation network that she's trying to build. This is an important referendum for us, not because we don't even get to vote on it, but it's because it sets the tone for the region as far as the connectivity and that last mile that we're going to need for the future. If it doesn't pass, I'm concerned that it could put us back 6 or 8 years as far as what we'll be doing in the future. The next thing I wanted to mention was we recently purchased the property around Robinson Lake in southeast Franklin, and this is going to add to the property we have there where we're going to create a new southeast park. This is an exciting time. It's something that's badly needed in the southeast area of Franklin. There are a number of projects that we're looking at, that we're finishing up, and we're going to be involved in 2018. Invest Franklin has been our guiding document on that. The Board of Mayor and Aldermen have voted to fund certain projects, and we'll be considering other projects going forward in this next year over this 10-year horizon. But the most exciting news is Mac Hatcher. We expect to be bid in February. Hillsborough Road is near completion, and we'll be seeing the new paving finished in the spring. Columbia Avenue, the board has given direction as far as the type of road section we're going to see, and the board and the staff is currently looking at mobility issues and utility issues on that corridor, and hopefully we'll start the design process. East McEwen, we continue to move forward that. We expect some approval from TDOT as far as our environmental study. Franklin Road, we're finishing up on the plans on that, and we'll be looking in the future when we'll be able to start that. Importantly, our water plant is going to go online after the upgrades that we've been doing, and we're going to be bidding the largest single capital project the city's ever done, a new wastewater plant here in 2018. Connectivity continues to be very important to our community, and we're working on that with sidewalks on 96 East and 96 West. And lastly, we're continuing to look at other sidewalk gaps in the city, again, trying to create that connectivity that we need. Henpeck Sewer, we're continuing to work with the school systems and the property owners along Henpeck Lane to provide sewer service so a middle school can be completed there. The last thing on my list are the elections. If you're not a registered voter, I would urge you to go and register to vote. We have important federal, state, and local elections this next year, and I hope you'll all be involved in those. And so thanks a lot, and again, thanks to my fellow mayors for being here today.
Thank you, Mayor Moore, visiting remotely. He may be watching us on Facebook Live, as this is being broadcast live on Facebook, and then will be available later today on our website or through other channels. I'm Mindy Tate, Executive Director for Franklin Tomorrow, and we're so glad you're here with us today, but we're especially thankful that these public servants have shared their time with us today. And let me introduce them from the far end of the couch. We have Franklin Vice Mayor Margaret Martin, Spring Hill Mayor Rick Graham, Brentwood Mayor Jill Bergen, Fairview Mayor Patty Carroll, Thompson Station Mayor Corey Naper, and Nolensville Mayor Jim Alexander. Nice to have you all here. Thank you. As I mentioned, some of the mayors have provided us with video, and you submitted questions when you registered. There will be no questions from the floor, but we have 10 questions that we've culled from the dozens submitted that we'll get to as many as we can. But we're going to start with Spring Hill Mayor Rick Graham. Give us 3 minutes on what's happening in Spring Hill and what you finished in 2017 and what you're looking forward to in 2018.
Right, thank you. We've been very busy. We've had a very busy January. We just recently videoed a transportation presentation by city staff that we have on our city website that shows a complete snapshot of all the road projects we're working on. So I encourage anybody to go see that as a reference to where we're at with many of our road projects. We did a BOMA, our Board of Mayor and Alderman retreat, a couple weeks ago, over 10 hours of meeting time working on capital improvement priorities and our plans for the city at Deer Run Camp, just right down the street. That helps us very much in planning our next year. Last week, we did the State of the City, Victor Lay and I, and you can see that on YouTube, or you can go to the city website either way. In 2017, we accomplished several road projects. We hired several new administrators. We've been working on bringing in the expertise to help move along our road projects faster. Through years of planning and things that I've been working on for a long time, we're seeing dirt moved. We're seeing things completed. We're seeing a lot of roads started. Lots of new businesses, ton of commercial businesses. What's funny is that we're covering the polar ends where 3 new daycares have opened up in Spring Hill, showing how young we are, and 4 new assisted living facilities. So we're seeing a lot of people my age moving to Spring Hill to be closer to their grandkids. We had the start of Duplex Road. We've been working on this one since 2006. This took 12 years in the making, and we purchased, as a city, 210 right-of-way parcels. That is, wow. TDOT told us that's the largest partial purchase of any right-of-way of any city in the state of Tennessee ever. And actually, he said it was double of right-of-way purchases. We did that so we could get this road started in 12 years. And we spent $4 million just for that. On the preservation side, we're very proud. The estate of Rippavilla is now owned by the city. We acquired that, and we have also preserved it through a land trust that future mayors and boards cannot change for hundreds of years. So we preserved that, and we also added 98 acres of passive park with that acquisition. You might have heard we've recently purchased the building in Northfield, which used to be the Saturn headquarters. We were getting ready to spend $20 million on a new library and a new Spring Hill Police Department headquarters. With this purchase, we picked up 6 times the space for half the cost. We spent $8 million for this building, and so we got 6 times the space for half the cost, and we're very excited about that. Awards, we had a ton of awards, about over 11 awards the city won in 2007. I'm going to just mention 3 of them. We received a 100% perfect score from TDEC on our water plant for our water quality. That's how good our water is. We also, the McCrutcheon Creek, which is where our water from the sewage plant goes to, TDEC, we changed that creek from impaired to fully operational now, if you would. TDEC said it was the model for extreme preservation of the state. for what we did. So we're very proud of that. Wallet Hub said we were the 4th best place to raise a family in Tennessee. And safehome.org ranked us the 2nd safest city in Tennessee. So as you see, it's not just about roads. We are doing a lot on roads and transportation, but it's a lot more than that. We sent 2 fire crews for several weeks to Gatlinburg. We all remember those fires there. We're working on a new census. We expect it to be over 40,000 people in Spring Hill. This will be our last census till the government coming up. We're working on a new Unified Development Code, a new UDC, which is going to be huge for our city. It's going to set the direction. It's about that thick for our city for the next few decades. We are working on, in the next few weeks, we should have a positive answer to a new interstate interchange in North Spring Hill on Buckner Road. We've been working on this one for a long time, and we're anticipating good news. Marcia Blackbird's office has helped us a lot in the D.C. office on that one, along with widening 31 and Buckner Lane, Buckner Road. All of those are future projects. We have over $200 million in road needs in Spring Hill. $200 million. So all of those are in the planning stages. Every year we're getting done. We're getting dirt moved, getting things started. At the State of the City last week, we expressed to everyone that when they're sitting in their cars and they're stressed and they're fussing at me, we gave everybody these little stress relievers. And I told them it's in my car too when I get in traffic. I can't fuss at myself too much. So, but we tell people in the end, it's all going to be worth it.
Jill, you may want to borrow that from Mayor Graham. Mayor Bergen from Brentwood, you may want to borrow his little stress.
Yeah, I definitely need one of those.
Jill's going to address us next, but you also have a video. But introduce the video before we play it a little bit.
Thank you, Mindy. Thank you, Franklin Tomorrow, for having me today. My name is Jill Bergen. I'm about to head in to finish up the first term as mayor of Brentwood. I served 2 terms as vice mayor before that, which was really a great job because nobody wants to call the vice mayor when they're upset about something. But so it's a whole new world being mayor. But I've been on the city commission up there since 2011. And we are in the midst of conducting a special census as well, about to wrap that up, and have found out that we've got about almost 43,000 residents in Brentwood now. So still growing, but still planning. And I wanted to thank my Director of Community Relations, Deanna Lambert, for putting together a short video for y'all today to update you on what we've been doing over the past year in Brentwood.
All roads lead to and through Brentwood. At least that's how it feels sometimes in the city of about 42,000 residents. And with about 20,000 commuters driving into town each day to work, the city has made road projects a priority. From up above, you can see bridge beams being set on the intersection realignment project at Sunset and Ragsdale Roads. When it's completed later in 2018, there will be 2 lanes, a continuous turn lane, and a 10-foot bike and pedestrian path. TDOT is in charge of the Franklin Road widening project, and since work started in the fall, a retaining wall is partially complete, 2 box culverts have been built, and a turn lane eliminated to allow work on the west side of the road. The city is building a second roundabout on Crockett Road at Green Hill Boulevard. This will replace the existing 4-way stop and better accommodate future traffic volume. Brentwood is helping Williamson County Schools with expanding the entrance and building a new STEM building on the campus of the award-winning Brentwood High and Brentwood Middle Schools. Smith Park, which is the city's largest park and located off Wilson Pike, now has 2 new athletic practice fields, along with a playground, additional parking, and a picnic shelter. And over at Crockett Park, residents can enjoy a new playground next to the picnic shelter. Food trucks made their official debut after city commissioners passed an ordinance in 2017. Business owners pay $50 for a permit. At summer concerts and events, citizens prove to enjoy what the trucks offer, both sweet and savory. In our commercial district, several new businesses and restaurants have opened, including Sur La Table, Nama Sushi, and Peter Millar in the Hill Center, Brentwood. 55 South Restaurant in City Park, and several luxury car dealerships in Mallory Park. The Brentwood Fire and Rescue Department was able to use an old house at the corner of Granny White and Virginia Way as a training site to help make way for the new Virginia Springs office development. And office space is hard to come by in Brentwood these days. The fourth quarter vacancy rate in 2017 was 6.6%. And now for the dollars. Estimates show that the fiscal year 2018 sales tax revenue in Brentwood will amount to about $1 million more than fiscal year 17. And the housing market remains solid, with Brentwood's median home price in December reported at just under $850,000.
Happy birthday!
And we're planning a birthday party. Brentwood is headed towards its 50th year as a city coming up in 2019.
Thank you, Mayor Bergen, and thank you, Deanna, for producing that. We're going to keep going east and ask Mayor of Nolensville, Jimmy Alexander, give us a little update on what's happened in Nolensville in 2017. Growing rapidly, seeing a lot of growth there, and what's coming up in 2018.
Well, all I can say is that this is not your parents' Nolensville. If you've been out there, you will notice quite a bit of change. We're growing by leaps and bounds. When I moved out there was about 15 years ago, there were about 1,500 people. Now, with the new census that we've got going now, we'll probably be in the neighborhood of over 10,000 people. Nolensville is a hot spot to be in. We're proud of that. We're doing our best to make it the very best place we can possibly get. We've got new road projects. We're widening Sunset Road from Nolensville Road to Brentwood. And we've got new high school that's in its second year. And we're working with the state to try to implement a plan to have a bypass around our historic district. That's very important to us. We just continue to do the things that will make Nolensville a great place to live, which it already is. We've hired a new police chief this past year, which I'm very proud of. We got him from the county, named Chief Parker, and we just keep doing things that'll add expertise to our staff. Again, this past year, we did a major thoroughfare plan to identify projects that we look forward to working on in this coming year. We also did a new general plan, and we set aside a site in case for the possible expansion of our library. We keep doing all the things, and we're taking baby steps, but we're getting there. If you come to Nolensville sometime and enjoy our great variety of foods and our new parks, and just 2 weeks ago, we dedicated a $1 million new trail from our historic district going into Y through our neighborhoods. It was a big plus for us. It was a lot of work that went into it. We got a grant, and we utilized it, and now we have a great trail from our historic district all through the neighborhood, and we'd like to see all of you come out and join us sometime. If you haven't been there, you won't recognize the place. So I'll leave it at that.
Thank you, Mayor Alexander. Mayor, we're going to go as far west as we can go now, back over the county and go over to Fairview, which is also experiencing a great period. And we've got with us Mayor Patty Carroll, who's going to introduce a video. But please do tell us a little bit about what's going on in Fairview?
What's not going on in Fairview? That's what I have to say. No, there's just so much. Last weekend we did or 2 weekends ago, a focus on Fairview, where our city manager just took some time with the citizens and staff and elected officials. A lot of them came out and just shared with us some of the great things that he has been able to accomplish this year. As many of you know, we have a new fire chief, a new police chief. We have a lot of changes, new planning commission that's in Fairview, so there's been a lot of change. We finished up the Safe Routes to School project, Cumberland, connecting middle school to residential neighborhoods behind it. This year we are getting into our comprehensive plan and very excited about getting the citizens involved and getting the input and really learning what they want in their community and what they see in the next 20 years. So that's one of the exciting things we've been talking about, but it's happening now. Working closely with Williamson County Economic Development, looking to get some stuff ready and just move forward. And then also we are just thrilled to have so many people focusing on Fairview now. Have lots of builders, a lot of people come into our community, and if you haven't been out there in a while, it's worth the drive. Of course, I have to give a shameless plug to our nature park, Bowie Nature Park. You should come out. Drive through. It's really the jewel of Williamson County. I say that every year, but there's just nothing else, no other way to explain it. I did bring a video. Mine's a little bit different than everybody else's. Imagine that. But I wanted the Fairview Chamber. We have a great chamber that has worked really hard, new board members and businesses to put some great events on this year. I wanted to give you just a little insight of, if you haven't driven out to Fairview, what you might see now. And this was a great opportunity. So we're going to play that instead of me going on and on about how wonderful Fairview is, which I love to do. I thought this might give you that insight. So if y'all will play that.
Great.
The beautiful city of Fairview is located about 30 miles southwest of Nashville. It is comprised of both small businesses and large businesses alike, both which are thriving right now in Williamson County.
The city of Fairview is the best kept secret of Williamson County. It's small enough to have a very strong sense of community, but close enough to all of the amenities of Nashville and surrounding area.
We have mom and pop stores like First District Coffee. We have boutiques like Bourbon and Rye, and we really have everything in between, from our favorite restaurants like Dos Margaritas to our businesses like Apex Bank and Thrivent Bank. All of those bring something to our city. And even large stores, corporate stores like Publix and Walmart have found that they have a niche here as well.
I think the biggest reason that a new company would want to come here to Fairview is the growth potential. We have a lot of young families that are starting to move in to the city, and there is going to be a great need for all types of businesses.
It's very community focused, and it's got a great school system.
So there are a number of amenities that new businesses would like to see in a community. One of those is education. Because we're in Williamson County, we have one of the best school systems in the state of Tennessee. A second is healthcare. We are now building a new healthcare facility here in Fairview that is going to have a primary care physician, multi-specialty clinic, and other healthcare amenities.
I chose to do business here in Fairview and to open up my office here. A couple of reasons. One, I live right here, and I know a lot of people here, and I like the small town atmosphere of Fairview, and so opened up shop right here.
We like to offer as many opportunities for the businesses to market themselves, to get out, to be seen, to talk to the community so that they really get to know the heart of the business that is supporting these events.
Nature Fest is one of those events that we have every year. We have that at Bowie Park, which is just a jewel here in the city. Bowie Park is one of the largest city parks in the country. And it's a great place for the community to come, the families of Fairview to come and enjoy themselves.
The Christmas parade is a great opportunity for the community to get involved and actually be a part of the parade. It also showcases really what has happened throughout the year. It's really more of just a fun time to get out, celebrate the meaning of Christmas and the season, and just, get all the warm and fuzzies.
The Chamber has helped us connect with other businesses in Fairview, other small businesses, other business owners that are trying to do the same thing that we are. They're trying to change the atmosphere and the economy of Fairview through small businesses. And it's been cool to partner with them so we're not up against the corporations alone.
If you want to be where there's going to be more activity, more growth, I think Fairview is an awesome place to be.
We have a lot of exciting things planned for the future, and we really want to connect with as many businesses in Fairview as possible. We know that every business is unique and it brings something to the table, and we want the businesses to get involved with us so we can utilize, their knowledge to be able to continue to grow our city and our community and our businesses.
Lot going on in Fairview, and now we're going to go a little south, just not all the way to Spring Hill, just halfway down to Thompson Station, and we've got Mayor Corey Napier with us. Thanks, Mayor, for being here. And tell us a little bit about Thompson Station.
Thank you. We're living the dream in Thompson Station. You can't be halfway between Spring Hill and Franklin on 840 at I-65 and not gather a lot of attention. And our town certainly is a microcosm of what we're seeing writ large in Williamson County as well as Middle Tennessee. And we are seeing people choose our town for a variety of reasons. I think it all gets back to choosing a sense of place and community. Those are recurring themes. People are looking for things, quality of life, that transcend just a housing situation. They're looking for connectivity socially. They're looking for health and wellness. So for us, it's about setting the table, the brand, and we've tried to do that in the last couple of years with our land development ordinance, which encourages the rural and the urban to coexist and to thrive off of one another. And so in the last year, we've spent some time marinating on what our new ordinance is all about and where that can take us. It's been a classic growth, no growth kind of discussion. How do we grow? What do we want to be when we grow up? We sit, as of the end of last year, census came in just under 5,000 souls. It's over 5,000 souls, I'll tell you that now. We're adding about 225 houses a year on average. Parabolic growth. It's largely in the existing subdivisions that were actually started during the recession. We've not added a lot of new subdivisions in that time. Of course, we're getting some attention with certain things that are being proposed for our town, but we want to see those communities within our community thrive and to be connected. So what have we done in the last couple of years? We've completed our master parks plan for Preservation Park. That's 220 acres dead in the middle of Thompson Station. That's really a metaphor for what we want to be. That's our front lawn. That's our gathering place of the future. It's a place to celebrate history, and it's a place to celebrate one another, community gardens and hiking. So we've cut in trailways. We've connected the park with an underpass at 31 near the Mars interchange so that we can connect the east and west sides of our town, even though 31 bisects it. And so for us, it really is how do we enact and fulfill this promise of our town by doing small things and big things. Infrastructure-wise, we are spent a lot of time in the last year on road work, easement acquisitions, Kreitz Lane, which is a collector road, major road, with a lot of folks moving there, as well as the brand new Thompson Station Elementary and Middle School will be located there. Will be signalized on both ends at Lewisburg and 31. That's a huge win. We've signalized Tollgate Boulevard, which has been a dangerous intersection near Independence. That is complete. We continue to focus on the safety and welfare of our road system. These were rural roads. A lot of them were, cow paths. not 50 years ago. And so Mr. Alexander talked about you wouldn't recognize Thompson Station. We're fighting hard so that the Native Americans that were here thousands of years ago and the farmers of the last 200 years still recognize Thompson Station in 200 more years. And we continue to be one of these jewels of our county, and that we complement everybody else's brand. The next year really holds for us this opportunity with some acquisition of sewer land. It's not a very sexy topic, but by acquiring needed drip field land for our sewer system, it allows us to begin to monetize, finally, after all these years, some of this commercial corridor opportunity at 31 and 840. You know, back to the sales tax discussion. We have a love-hate thing with 840, Franklin and Thompson Station. A lot of us didn't want it, it came, so how do we make the most of it? So, Mr. Boyd, you know, the reason we put in 840 was to drive economic development, and we want to be part of that solution. We also see that if we can generate sales tax revenue at these interchanges, we can build on our historic downtown, and we can be smart about where we put in our economic engines. It'll help pay for some of these amenities that we want. So we're excited about the coming year and what it holds. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. We've got Franklin Vice Mayor Margaret Martin with us, and she's here and will weigh in on some of these questions that we're going to ask now. But we just want to get started with asking a couple of these questions. And we'll direct them, not by directing them, but ask you if you would like to reply, please do, but be brief. It's 8:32, and we're going to end at 8:45, so let's be brief. What are your thoughts about balancing quality of life with growth of our communities? What are your thoughts on that? Does anyone want to tackle that to start with? Or I'll have to point. If not, come on, somebody tackle. What are your thoughts about balancing quality of life with growth of our communities?
Well, talk a little bit about that. It's difficult. We have people in Knowlesville that's lived there all their lives. And they've got grandkids, and they liked it. They liked it the way it was. And then we have so many newcomers that are coming into Knowlesville now. Our proximity to Nashville is a lot of it's moving south. So the balancing is very, very difficult. But the main ingredient in all this is the newcomers and the guys that have been there for 40, 50 years. They want the same thing that everybody else wants. They want quality of life, they want a small town feel, and we work toward giving both groups what they want. But again, very difficult situation to balance.
Pass it back that way.
I think it's funny that Nellensville and Fairview grab for the mic and to speak on this. I'm sure it's issues that we have dealt with a lot with growth and just change. But I mean, I think it's crucial. I think you have to have that balance. I think as you grow, you can be respectful for who you were, where you came from, but also I think it's very important that you honor what makes you who you are. So green space and providing, I mean, as much as we hear from people, traffic and roads and schools, we equally hear about our parks. And, we'd like to see this in our community. We would like more family things. So I think, as you grow, it's a balancing act. You have to stay up with the infrastructure, but also you want to provide those services to the people and your residents. So anyway, it's a balancing act, but you got to keep it. You got to keep who you are.
I agree, and I especially relate to Mayor Alexander's comments about long-timers and newcomers, because whenever we have a meeting and residents come to speak to us, they'll both get up to the microphone and let us know first off how long they've lived there. And the ones who've lived there in Brentwood for 44 years are as proud, of course, as the newcomers who'll say, I've lived here 1 year and I love it. And we're glad to see both of them, but you can't just have growth for growth's sake. And I was impressed, even the chamber I noticed this year, their slogan changed just a tiny bit, and it used to be Williamson Inc., where growth is the point, and now it's where strategic growth is the point. And I think that's a very good distinction to make. I think it's a wise move because honestly, you can't say yes to everything, and it's tempting sometimes, but we're a really popular place here in Williamson County and in Brentwood especially. We're right there between Nashville, the it city, and Franklin, what can you say about Franklin, So I think that using that discretion is very important when you're in that position because those days aren't always going to be like this, and so we got to plan for those days when it's not.
I'm going to ask Mayor Anderson a question. Mayor Anderson, when people registered for Breakfast with the Mayors today, we asked whether they supported the sales tax or did not support the sales tax or did not have enough information. 38% of those registering said they did not have enough information to make a decision, while 51% of those registering said they were in support of the sales tax. But we got a frequent question of what other options were considered for funding schools besides the sales tax increase? And if it does not pass on February 6th, what is the next step?
So the slideshow that we were going through, you've got your property taxes, you've got your wheel tax or registration fee, and then you've got a litany of other taxes that go into it. I think there's another piece of this puzzle, and I'm glad that one of the potential governors that's running for the governorship is here so that he can hear this. And I heard him make this statement in the gubernatorial debate that was at Belmont last week, that whoever ultimately, I think, is going to Nashville has got to address the BEP formula. That's the basic education formula. It is woefully needs attention and adjustments, and he said he would do that. It's not that the current governor, who I think has done an outstanding job. I'm very fond of Bill Haslam, and I think the majority of us are. What a nice 7 years he's put in Nashville. But it is so difficult to look at our education when all of these mayors, and whatever they say, I'm supportive of. So they're all talking about growth, and that's exactly what we're talking about. 30 years ago, we built this community around public education, the best that we could have in the state of Tennessee. And it's brought us all here, or it's brought a lot of us here. And the existing residents that are here have enjoyed that. I'm becoming an old man now, but I'm also enjoy my grandchildren and my children being able to live and work right here in our community. And that was not possible 35 and 40. We all went to Nashville. Today, that transportation, that commute, is about an even number coming back and forth. So I think, Mindy, the answer to some of those questions is it's a combination of all of our fees, all of our taxes. We have tried some innovative things, from educational impact fees that are in the courts now, but yet I've got great friends that are in the home building and the real estate market. Everybody is moving here. No one wants to pay for it. I get that. I don't like standing up on an election year as a poster child for a sales tax increase. But sometimes you have to do things and come out front and show your leadership and say, these are the things that people do want or don't want. It's your choice. It is strictly your choice, because when it gets over those 24 county commissioners, it becomes a different ball game. And if you tell them this is what you want, then we will apply that $23 million increase per year for 3 years, about $65, $66 million. And thankful, all of these cities got on board and said, there's where add these numbers up. 210,000, Matt says, in our county. About 150 or 60,000 are in the city, and they're giving up their sales tax so that we can make this formula work. It's a very unique community.
Thank you. And this question is for each of you to answer, please, briefly, because just be succinct here. But what is the single most important thing you hope to achieve in 2018? And conversely, what is the most important thing we, as individual citizens, can do to improve the city, county, state, and our nation? So what are you looking forward to doing in 2018, and what can the citizens do to support you in accomplishing that and in our state?
What a question. I'm the vice mayor. I'm the only one up here. I feel like one of the Culhanes. I don't know whether you remember the Culhanes that sat in a row on Hee Haw, but anyway, one of the things, Mandy, that you asked, one of the questions that you mentioned, this doesn't really answer that question, but in the legislature this year, they're going to be talking about bills that affect all of us. And one of them that we are really concerned about is the building standards that some of the home builders want to remove from our city requirements. For years and years and years, we have worked to try to make our communities, all of us, what neighbors want to keep the character of their neighborhood safe. We have done this with our elected officials. We have done this through planning, strategic planning. We have gotten input from the public over and over and over through public meetings, and we feel that local control, everyone needs to have local control over their communities.
Thank you. Besides road projects in Spring Hill, I mentioned the Unified Development Code that we're working on. That's going to be very important for us for setting the framework for future zoning areas and where we want the different parts of our city to be in the next few decades. So modernizing our codes and getting that completed along with the multitude of road projects. And we'll be working on some things this year for growth. Spring Hill knows about high growth. We went through it. We're still catching up on the consequences of growth from 2005 when we were doing 1,500 permits a year to, we dropped down to the Depression 2009 down to about 180. 2016, new residential permits, 699. Last year, 804. So we're starting to climb back up into what I call the turbo years, and we do not want the consequences of no growth. I have to explain it to people all the time. You can't stop it. We have to continue it going, or we'll never do the things we want to do as a city. So we want moderate growth. We're actually going to be doing some things because we cannot afford, we can't sustain as a city to go back into the turbo growth years. So some of the things we'll be doing this year will be just a little tap of the brakes, so we don't return back. I know Mayor Napier is happy about that, and because we all drive through his city every morning, and so that's our plans, along with again, $200 million in road needs that we've got to get going. So some of these things can happen before I'm out there on a walker watching them open.
Okay, so you said be brief. I'll try very hard. The one thing I really hope to do is to help Brentwood just be more of a team player around the area on a lot of these issues. We have not managed to build a fence around the city like some people claim they want. It's like you say, it's just not how it works. So my goal is to get out there and be involved and make sure that Brentwood is part of the process, because things are going to happen around us and to us unless we participate. And I think you asked also, what would we advise you to do to help? And I speak to a lot of Girl Scout and Boy Scout groups, and I'll tell y'all the same thing that I tell them. And number one is pay attention. And it's obvious that you're here now, you're already doing that, but pay attention to what is happening in our area at all levels of government, because we all work together, affect each other, ask questions. And I hear a lot of people say, well, I don't want to get political, I don't want to get involved in all that. And don't hesitate and don't use that excuse, because we have a lot of smart folks in this area and we need you. Even if you don't want to run for office, we need your ideas and your input. So Thank you for being here today. I appreciate the chance.
Well, if y'all know me, I'm a little competitive. So I look at everything as a race. I look at this term as mayor as this could be it. So I want to get as much done as possible. Not saying if I'm running again, I'm just saying everything I look at. This is my last year of my first term. So I want to finish strong. And so I think with the citizens of Fairview, we can do that. I did mention earlier, we are doing some projects also with the intersections right at the school, working on traffic things. So that'll be a focus. But one of this main focuses is small businesses, bringing businesses into my community. So this year, I just really ask that the citizens, also get involved, but help me finish strong. And I think together we've done great things, and we're only going to do even better. And I'm so excited about the future of Fairview. It is really bright, and we've just seen it. So anyway, and thank you for inviting me. And I work with the greatest mayors ever. So Williamson County is blessed. They really are.
All right, I touched on this a little bit earlier. Sewer certainty is a big deal for our town, and we're closing in on having our sewer plant fixed. Our neighboring cities, you hear that they struggle as well with wastewater. Towns and cities can't succeed really without a successful sewer approach. And so with sewer certainty allows us to be more aggressive and more deliberate with some economic development efforts. We know where we sit. We know that we're a big deal in the future in Williamson County with access to 840 and these interchanges. And so we want to be good stewards of that. And so with sewer certainty, we can look at downtown revitalization. I mentioned the interchanges at 431 and 31. It opens up a different type of discussion for us. I hope that in this year for us, the concrete thing that you'll see us do downtown is get started on a new town hall. With a new town hall, we can have better facilities for community gatherings, which I think is hugely important as we try to educate our newcomers. And it also allows us to open up that train depot that currently serves as town hall, perhaps, and turn it back into a library. So there's a huge interest in having a library down there. So look for those things in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, this is my last year of the second term as being mayor. We've made a lot of progress over the last 7.5 years. Look forward to doing some great things this year. One of our major problems, as it is with everyone, is traffic. We're looking for ways to mitigate our traffic problems, and we're also looking at potential new growth in our commercial areas. We're attempting to make everyone happy down there. The older people that have been there for years, and the new ones that are moving in. And I think we've done a good job for the past 7 years, and we wanted to continue that to make Knowlesville one of the best places in the county to live.
Thank you so much. Thank you to all of our mayors. Please thank them for being with us today. This is the kickoff breakfast in our Breakfast with the Mayor series for 2018. The next breakfast will be April 24th back here at Rolling Hills. Early voting continues through the end of business on Thursday, February 1st for the February 6th referendum on a 0.5-cent increase to the local option sales tax. Please vote whatever your conscience, but please vote, become engaged in your community, and participate in the process of making decisions in our community. Our next event will be February 12th with our Frank Talks at the Williamson County Enrichment Center on the role of African Americans in the past, present, and future of Williamson County. But we also want to thank Elizabeth Mefford and her committee for such a great program, as well as Pinnacle Financial and our other partners. We hope that you will become involved in your community through these programs and other programs in the community, but stay involved and have a great day here in Williamson County.